Okay, how's everyone doing?
Very well, thank you.
Good. Okay, we're going to start our class. I'm not going to introduce myself. My name is Francois Dion. I'm going to be your instructor today. Today we are going to do a mini lesson on creating flavorful food and balance in that dish. And we do that by balancing salty, sweet, bitter, and sour. So as the class is going, if anyone has any questions, feel free to just jump in and ask a question at any time. We are going to start the class with a demonstration. I'll be demonstrating making a flavorful salad, and then you are going to come up and make a salad of your own. And I'm going to help mentor you through that. And then we are all going to sit down and talk about our salads and the experience we had. So before we get going, maybe we can go around the room and just introduce ourselves so we all know who we are. And maybe I'll start. My name is Francois Dion. I am a Red Seal chef. I'm a father, married to a beautiful woman. And I love cooking. I love mixing different flavors, going out in the garden and just experimenting things. But as I was setting up, Ron and I tried a green strawberry, and we talked about the flavors of that green strawberry, and we sprinkled a little bit of salt on it, and we realized that just the fresh green strawberry was okay. So I love experimenting with food. So that's me. Ron, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Ron, and I like learning new foods ideas.
Awesome, thanks for sharing, Ron.
I'm Pat,
Hi, Pat.
and I'm still learning to do cooking on my own. Still 2 years later.
Awesome. Well,
And I always ended up last night to make a steak, and the steak I made ended up well done. And that steak ended up almost perfect.
nice, well done.
I'm Alexia, and I've been cooking and eating for a long time. I love working with food, buying it, eating it, preparing it, the whole 9 yards. I love food.
Awesome, well, welcome to the class.
I'm Brad. I usually experiment a lot. I always have people ask me, where'd you learn how to do that? And I thought of it, I tried it, it was good, so I do it again. You know.
Awesome.
My name is Jill. I am a home sport worker, and I have children, so I do a lot of cooking.
Awesome,
Yeah.
thank you.
And I'm Maggie, and I'm always interested in learning something new, especially about food.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for sharing a little bit about yourselves and coming to this class. So before I get started, I just wanted to let everyone know that we're going to be mixing some different foods together, and it's important for me to know if anyone has any allergies. Does anyone have any allergies at all? No? Okay, perfect. That makes it really easy. So what I'm going to do is do a little demonstration on making the flavorful food, and as I'm doing that, you can ask any questions at all. I'm going to go through the process that I take on developing a tasty meal, and then you're going to do it, and I'm going to help you through that. Before I get started though, does anyone have any experience making tasty food, or does anyone have any stories they want to share about creating a dish that they thought was really successful or that didn't work at all?
Tried years ago, I eat a lot of chicken, and I just got it in my mind. I took fresh grated Parmesan and mixed it in Miracle Whip, and then spread that on the chicken and baked it, and it actually tasted really good. So I love it. And now I see Hellman's mayonnaise advertised. I'm thinking I should have patented that.
Yeah, that's my recipe. I love that though, because when you look at that mayonnaise, they create this sauce that has saltiness and sweetness and butteriness because of the fat, and so it's actually a really great vehicle. Throwing in some Parmesan cheese and baking in the oven, I know that would be a tasty dish. So.
Turned out I had a buddy that was my roommate. He had his stepsister and her family over. That's what we served them for dinner. And at the end, she says, "Why are you going to get that recipe from me?" I said, "Take some mayonnaise, some Parmesan cheese, spread it on your chicken, throw it in the oven. There's your recipe."
Yeah, and you know what, you make a good point too about being a risk taker. And you know, in kitchens we can sometimes get bogged down with, is it gonna be like the recipe? Is it gonna be like this picture? And it rarely is. But just to take a chance and just do it and then reflect on it and go, oh, okay, I would do that again because that really worked, or
That was crap.
yeah, exactly. That didn't work at all. Does anyone else want to share any stories that they have with food or making a tasty dish?
My big thing right now is I've just discovered, and I never know how to say it, hoisin sauce.
Hoisin sauce, yeah.
I don't do much Eastern sort of Asian kind of flavors, and I've discovered that and had some fun with that. Both as with tahini and some other stuff, ginger and stuff on it, chicken and on the salmon. And then I thought it was so good I put it on halibut. And it worked with all of those. It just had a different flavor because of course the meat component had a different flavor. But that was a good lesson for me because I really lean towards Mediterranean sort of seasonings. I'm big on basil and oregano and all that kind of stuff. And so this was out of my comfort zone. So it was quite fun to play with that.
That hoisin sauce is kind of like the mayonnaise of
It is.
the
And
East.
you read the ingredients, you think, oh, but it's got that something that then you put other flavors, and it's a great, I don't know, what would you say, carrier maybe for other stuff.
Yeah, it's a vehicle.
Yeah.
It's a vehicle to kind of make something a little bit tastier, you know, so whether you just add it to a stir fry at the end, or, it's something that we could use today in the salads that we're making. So, the one thing that I would caution about using those pre-prepared products is that they are high in salt, they're high in fat, they're high in sugar. So today, one of the things we're going to talk about is like when you're cooking from scratch, you really have control over what you're putting in, and those products, they're engineered products so that you go, wow, I want more of that. And I think in moderation, they're really good. I mean, I'm guilty of using more mayonnaise than I should because it's so good. Yeah, that was a great story. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to pass out a little handout here. Ron, if you'd like to pass that out. And I made this handout just so we can go over the basics. And this is something that you could just stick on your fridge or have on a coffee table. I briefly mentioned recipes, and sometimes we can really get bogged down in recipes. So the recipe I have here, and this is basically going to be the salads we're making, is a cup of cooked grains. It could be any grain or any pasta. Some raw vegetables. So you see on the table here, I have a variety of different raw vegetables, everything from apples and blueberries to cucumber, celery, fennel, tomatoes, some canned corn, grated beets, carrots. So, you could use anything. And that's what I love about this recipe, is that it's just mixing kind of whatever you have in your fridge to make a tasty salad. And you could have nuts or not have nuts and seeds. You could add dried fruit, a little bit of garlic. Sometimes I get on garlic kicks and I love everything really garlicky. Lately, I've just been like, I don't want any garlic. So, that's up to you. Sometimes a salad with apples and blueberries and garlic just doesn't work. So salt and pepper, a little bit of sweetness, like some honey or sugar, and then, of course, if you like things a little spicy, I think a little hot sauce actually adds a little bit of a dimension together. So those are the ingredients, and the instructions is mix everything together, give it a try, and then adjust seasoning. And that's what I'm going to talk about in my demo, how important it is to give something a try. So you make your salad, you take a spoonful of it, and you taste it, and you reflect on those flavors. And all our palates are different. And so someone might say, hey, I'd like it a little sour. Someone might say, I'd like it a little bit salty. We have an Asian exchange student living with us, and his parents came and stayed, and they couldn't believe how little salt we use. And they literally will put salt on their plate and dip each individual piece in salt. And I was blown away by that. I was like, I couldn't do that. And what is the long-term health effects of using that much salt? And they were blown away at how we don't use any salt at all. And I feel like I season my food. So, we all have different palates. But I'm so passionate about food. I love talking about it. At our dinner table, we talk about what do you like about that? And what would you change? And I would maybe add a little bit of this. So, we get really excited about that sort of thing at our house. So that's kind of something that I'd like you to take home, is when you invite people over, or just talking about the food and not being scared to say, yeah, next time I would do this, or I would do that. So that's the recipe. One of the things with making flavorful food is really looking at the saltiness of something. Are you seasoning it up with enough salt? When people say to me, when I go to the restaurant, it just tastes quite a bit better. Well, it's really just because they're adding just a little more salt. So we also have sour, and that sour could be vinegar, lemons, limes. It could be fermented, pickled. I'm gonna pass around this berry here that I have for everyone to just give a try, and it's a hawkberry. You have some growing out in the back of your garden, and I find them super flavorful, but they're also sour. So instead of putting vinegar in something, or lemon juice, I might sprinkle a few hawkberries over it, and that gives me the sour component. So I'm gonna pass this around. I love these. My wife is like, I don't like them. She doesn't appreciate the flavor or understand the sourness. She's like, I'm not interested in them. We could dig this bush up and throw it in the compost, and I would.
Okay.
So as I was saying, I've got these berries. So I'm going to pass this around, and I'd like to know what you think of these berries.
Are those little red ones? Are they red?
No, they're red. They're like they almost look black. So it's almost like a red grape, a dark red grape. And this bush was given to me by a gentleman named David Livingston, and he called them hawkberries, and he said that they were a mix between a black currant and a gooseberry.
Oh.
Yeah, so the bush doesn't have thorns on it.
Because there's also hawthorn trees, right? And they also.
Yeah. So what does everyone think of that berry?
Not bad. Yeah.
Not bad. So there's a few left. If anyone wants to sprinkle them on their salad, you're more than welcome. So that's kind of something that I like about balancing flavors. It's not just looking at vinegar to add the sourness, or lemon juice, but adding another product that gives it the sourness. So another taste that is important is sweet. So having just a little bit of sweetness, and that can come in form of a beautiful fresh carrot, or some peas that are naturally sweet, or you can add a little honey, or some dried fruits, or some blueberries that are going to add some natural sweetness, as well as just adding maybe just a pinch of sugar. So a good example of that is the tomato sauce that I made. I actually added a little bit of sugar in that tomato sauce, and that just really balanced it and brought out some of the flavors. So I'm always blown away how just a little pinch of sweetness can change a product. And the last one we're going to talk about is bitter. So bitter is something that we always shy away from a little bit, but it's really important, that bitter flavor. And when you start addressing all of these flavors, they're actually really making your mouth happy and your body happy. And so when you have a dish that is well balanced, you feel satisfied. If you have a dish that's missing, let's say, some saltiness or some sweetness, you're going to finish your meal and be like, ooh, maybe some ice cream or some cookies. But if you address all those flavors, then your body is going to be satisfied, and that's just a healthy way of living too. That you have a really well-balanced meal, and you're not going over for snacks because your body's like, ooh, maybe I do want a little more sugar. And I know in that, for us in our house, that means chocolate or ice cream, and we don't always need all of that. So, does anyone have any questions about that at all? No? Okay, perfect. I'm going to move on and do my demo here. So, I've got some quinoa, some rice, and I also have some barley. And the reason why I brought all three of these grains is because this gives you an opportunity to pick what you want in your salad. And a lot of times, these are things that we eat on a regular basis, but we have a little extra left over. And so what do you do with those leftovers? Well, you can quickly turn it into a healthy salad. What I love about doing it like this right now is that they're still warm. And so making a nice kind of warm salad with some crunchy vegetables, for me, is very satisfying. So because I love quinoa, I'm going to start with quinoa. And I know it said a cup of quinoa in the recipe, but it can be 2 cups of quinoa, 3 cups of quinoa, or just about a half a cup of quinoa. So I started with the quinoa. And I'm going to think about what type of salad I'm going to make right now. And you know what? I'm going to basically add a little bit of everything. And it's going to be just a kitchen sink salad. So I'm going to start with a few tomatoes, a little bit of fennel, some celery, a little bit of cucumber, some yellow peppers, some red peppers. Right there, if I added some feta cheese, I would almost have a Greek salad. A little black olives, so I have my Greek salad right there. But I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to add a little bit of chive or green onions. I'm going to add some carrots. I'm going to add some beets. Beets are just add a natural sweetness, which I really enjoy, and it's also going to make my salad red, which is great. I've got a 6-year-old daughter. It makes her poop pink, and you know what? She wouldn't eat beets if it didn't make her poop pink. So she's like, "Yeah, I'll have some more beets, please."
Now, are those just raw grated?
Those are just raw grated beets, and it's interesting. I could have grated the carrots too, but I like to dice them. Diced beets just don't carry over as well. They're hard to eat, and so that's why I prefer to grate the beets. So that's kind of why I made that choice there. I'm also going to add some apples, and I'm going to add a few raisins. I could add a couple marshmallows and some walnuts, and I'd have a Waldorf salad. So here comes a pretty important part of the process, and that's seasoning it up. Because right now, this salad on its own is going to be kind of a little bit bland. So what I'm going to do is add a little bit of salt. I'm going to add a little bit of pepper. I'm going to add a little bit of turmeric. And turmeric is really healthy. It also is going to make the salad a little bit yellow, but it also has that bitterness. So I really appreciate the bitterness. I am going to add a little bit of vinegar here. You notice I'm not measuring anything out. I'm just kind of pouring it in. And I'm going to add a a little bit of olive oil. And so then I get my spoon and I'm going to mix it around. So you can see it's beautiful colors there. And here comes the most important part. So now that I've mixed it all together, I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to just think about the flavors and what am I looking for there. I've got enough salt. I've got enough sweetness with the beets, so I'm not going to add any sugar. But what I find is that I can have a little more sourness. So I'm going to add just a little more vinegar, and I'm going to be very careful. I don't want to put too much. And then I'm not going to presume that I have enough. I'm going to actually try it again. I love it. So I just got a bite of apple, which was sweet. I feel like I've got the right amount of vinegar. And I'm going to take this over the top, and I'm just going to take a little bit of mint. And I'm just going to rip up the mint in a summer salad, a little bit of mint. Not too much. I don't want it to be minty, but a little bit of mint really makes a difference. And I can smell that, just rubbing that mint in my hands. I'm going to give it a try again. I'm really happy about that. So the most important part is really giving it a try and reflecting. If it's too sour or too salty, you can add some more grains. Does anyone have any questions about that at all? How do we feel about coming up, walking around, helping yourself, making your own salad? Does everyone feel comfortable doing that? Awesome. All right, let's do this. I got some bowls for you here. And some forks. Ron, there's a bowl.
Sure.
Here you go. Awesome. And
Yeah.
I really encourage all of you to just be a risk taker and just take chances and maybe try something that you haven't tried before. And that's all part of that process of experimenting with food. Here you go, just bowl for it. So,
What is that, Francois?
this is barley.
Barley, eh?
Yeah, would you like to try and make a barley salad?
But like, try one of
Okay, here we go, Ron.
What's that?
these. Like, try things.
I'm going for barley too. Just keep spooning.
Awesome.
Okay.
There you go.
Do you want a fork to stick in there, Ron, so you
Oh,
can
yeah.
stir when the time comes?
Awesome. What would you like to
Get out of
try?
your way.
The quinoa.
The quinoa. Good choice there.
Yeah.
Here's your
Quinoa. Awesome. Have you had quinoa before?
What else?
Yeah, when I works up there, Dana,
Yeah.
she teaches a course on eating, on the recipe, I think, that we're to make up for quinoa, to make a quinoa salad. As a
awesome.
meal salad.
And did you enjoy it?
What is that?
Awesome. Awesome. Maybe I'll just move this table out a little bit.
We can walk around.
Yeah, so then we can walk around.
Your world is moving wrong.
I know that.
Go around that side.
How's that?
Yeah, I think that works.
Do you want
Can
to
you
taste
do
it?
the grain at all?
Yeah, I'll just have a bit of
A
quinoa.
little bit of quinoa.
Thank you.
That's good. Just a
Yeah.
little more, then you can take it home for dinner. No, you're good there? Okay. Ron, I love your salad. I love that you just kind of got a little bit of everything in there.
Yes.
How you feeling about the blueberries? Is that like
Okay.
getting out there for you, or is it like, no, I put blueberries in everything?
I put blueberries and everything.
You should be at the farmer's market with him. He never gets his blueberries home.
Oh,
By the
yeah.
time we get to the truck, he's eating his
Yeah.
blueberries.
When I buy a $10 bag of blueberries, they're supposed to be gone. Trying to get home.
What else?
Yeah, no, I totally understand that, Ron. That's kind of like us with raspberries or yeah, any fresh fruit.
Yeah.
And I really love them in the salad.
Sorry, were you gonna take that?
I'm trying to get some great flavors. So.
What do you recommend for
What's that?
for seasoning?
Oh,
How would you like to try a little bit of peanut butter?
Sounds good.
Let's just try it.
Okay.
So just like I would go with just like a small scoop of peanut butter, and that's going to add a little bit of protein. It's going to add a little bit of nuttiness. And then, you know, I would say instead of apple cider vinegar, just using the white vinegar.
White vinegar?
Yeah, just the white vinegar. Yeah, awesome. And then, you know, your salt and pepper, and then give it a try. Mix it up and give it a try. How are you doing with your salad?
good.
Good. You've got everything you want in it. I think that's awesome. That looks great.
Yeah,
I feel like you're ready to do some seasoning.
sure.
Do you feel like
Yeah.
seasoning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just take one of those and rip it up.
Yeah, you totally can.
Oh, I've got a bean there too.
Yeah, and the kale has just a nice bitterness to it. Super healthy, great thing to add to salads. Okay, so I would start with maybe a little bit of a would you like some help?
Yes.
Okay, so I would just do a splash of vinegar,
That is soy sauce.
and then maybe a little bit of olive oil.
Okay,
Feel good about that?
sure.
Now, and then what
That
about
is
salt and pepper? How about you do the salt and pepper?
Okay.
And then
This
you
is
want to
cider
start
vinegar,
mixing it up
regular
after you get
peanut
some
oil.
salt and pepper and go from there.
Okay.
Okay.
Ron, I see you're tasting now. What do you think? How do you feel about that?
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good. And are you picking up the sourness, the saltiness, and the mixture of the blueberries that you put in yours? Is it all kind of coming together?
I think with the peanut butter really tastes really good.
Was it cooked in?
Know what those base flavors are. So well done at doing that.
Yeah.
What do you think of your salad just like that?
It's very good, Francois.
Very good. Now, how do you feel about adding like a little bit of sourness or some saltiness? A little bit of vinegar? Okay.
What do you think? Okay.
Ron, how are you doing with your salad? You're like, I'm finishing this salad off.
It is. It's so good. I'm enjoying it.
Awesome. Ron, can you share any tips or anything that you experienced through making your salad?
I just took it out of the vegetables I like and trying something new with rice, whatever they call it, Francois.
Barley.
The barley.
Yeah, I tried barley. I tried making myself one time.
Yeah, barley is awesome.
Like maybe some oil or something.
Barley is really high on the glycemic, or sorry, really low on the glycemic index. So when I eat barley, I feel like I've got energy for the whole day. I really love barley, and you don't need a lot to fill up. So I find like if I'm cooking on a budget, barley goes the distance on so many different levels.
Can you buy that in grocery store yet?
Any grocery store, Ron. And I like to get the pearl barley, and I really just put in a cup of barley and maybe 2 or 3 cups of water and just bring it to a boil, a low simmer. And it's really forgiving, so if you need to add a little more water, you're good to just add more water. It's not like rice, if you suddenly add more water and it just goes mushy.
It goes mushy, but with that, it's really easy to make then.
Okay, Francois, I think
Yes.
I'm missing something.
Do you think?
I am absolutely missing something.
I
I
would
think maybe
love
it's
to
salt.
give it a taste.
How much do they?
It's just really flat.
Very good, just sort of mix it all.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was great the way you described that, flat. Because because I think you have a lot of great base flavors. What's missing for me is a little bit of sourness and a little bit more salt.
So a bit more vinegar and a...
Yeah, so a little more vinegar, a little more salt. And I think with the, use a little bit of tahini. Yeah, I think
Because that's got a bitter flavor, right? Tahini works
Yeah.
and so does the kale. So I think when I'm tasting this flat with the bitter, that's are the two flavors I'm getting.
yeah, and the tahini also adds a really nice creaminess to it, but it needs to be more alive. It needs to be brought up a little bit, and that's what the sourness is going to do.
Okay.
I also feel like a little bit of mint. So tahini, I always put with kind of Mediterranean
Middle Eastern
food.
kind of, yeah.
So I feel like the mint would work, and that would kind of bring it up and make it a little more alive also. Yeah, sparky. Yeah, well said.
All right.
So, what do you think? You added, I saw a little bit of vinegar. How does that taste? Good.
Also very, sorry,
I will take.
Yeah, yeah. And so you're happy with the way you develop flavors? Now, can I try something here with yours? What if we took a little bit of mint, and I'm just gonna just lift it up, and I'm just gonna put it in, and I'd like to know what you think of just a little bit of mint. And you know what I'm gonna do too? I'm gonna put a little bit of thyme in there. And the great thing about these herbs is that they grow anywhere, and they really add a lot of flavor. So just pick off a little bit of thyme, mix it in, and tell me what you think of that when you mix it in together. How was your salad?
Really good. Sorry, I
Really
didn't
good?
give you a taste.
No, that's okay. I can tell it was good because you just sat down and you're like, oh, okay, I got something good here. That's awesome. Is there anything you want to share about your salad at all?
Well, the beets are excellent, and I put blueberries and corn together. and
Anything
it
else in
really
it?
worked well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's beets always they blow me away because sometimes the beets will just sit in my fridge until they're soft, and I think the challenge with beets is that you don't want to get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like a carrot where you
Yeah.
can just clean off the cutting board, and so with the beets, I always have to kind of force myself to get the beets out, and but I'm always so happy when I do.
Yeah, I never thought of grating them like raw.
Yeah,
Excellent.
it doesn't take too long. Brad, how's your salad come along? Good. I really notice you're really reflecting on it. You're like,
Dry and eat something.
What did you put?
dry. Okay, you know what? When I hear dry, that's adding a little bit of olive oil.
Oh,
And so that fattiness will actually change it from being dry. So kind of like a muffin. If you don't put enough oil in a muffin or a cake and it dries out, it needs a little bit of fat. And so sometimes if things are a little bit dry, adding a little bit of oil. And the oil can also balance out the sourness. So it plays a couple different roles.
Try them?
Well done.
Ron, you're done. Awesome. Awesome. Ron, would you make a salad using any of these ingredients?
I'll definitely do it again.
Yeah.
Put it at home. Try that.
With the barley?
Barley again, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like it would be a good meal for me for a couple days. Keep me going.
yeah, I don't really have
Yeah.
much.
And you know what I love about the barley or any of these grains is you can actually make a porridge with it in the morning too. So, you know, a little bit of peanut butter, barley, some blueberries, apples, or raisins, add a few nuts, and you've got a porridge that is going to keep you going all day. So that's something that I love doing at home too.
And it's a really inexpensive food.
Yeah, it is.
Or raisins.
Or yeah, raisins too. And you know, I think when I'm making a dish, one of the most important things is really just that trying it and thinking about it and really going from there. Because I know when I was younger and I just make a meal, it would just be like, I'm just putting it in my mouth and it's not very good, I don't want to do this again. but spending just a few more minutes with some really simple ingredients, vinegar, salt, tahini for your bitterness, or you can add some kale and a little bit of sweetness. All makes a difference in the
That's
salad.
salt, yeah.
So it looks like everyone's kind of wrapping up.
Oregano here.
Oh, we don't have oregano, but oregano would be pretty good.
Yeah. Need anything else in it?
Not really.
Okay.
That's awesome. I love, what I'm seeing here too, it's like when I go to wine tastings and I see people I'm seeing all of you do that and I love it. Because that's what I do. Like you go into professional kitchens and you see that when you've got a good team working together, people are just thinking, hey, try this, and that's important, right? Because you've got customers and you want to make sure that your customer's happy, because you've got a lot of competition out there. You're lucky at home in your kitchen you don't have any competition. It's just you and your family or friends. But when you go through this process, they're going to go, wow, that was awesome. Can I come for dinner tomorrow night? And then you're like, oh. So, hey, how about we all just take a seat and we'll kind of talk about the seasoning and the process, and we can go from there. If you still have some salad and want to continue eating, feel free. If you finish, I can take that.
I didn't get all the quinoa.
Oh, that's fine.
Vinegar?
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Look at you backing up.
Yeah.
All right, so you all did a really good job. I was really impressed that you just took that chance and really tried some different things. I know for Ron, when I said add some peanut butter, he kind of looked at me like, okay. I've never made a peanut butter salad before, but this is what I do at home. I've never tried that before. Let's do it. And I've got a 6-year-old daughter, and I kind of get her involved, and she's like, no, don't do it, Dad. Don't do it. And I'm like, yeah, no, let's try it. And I'm really lucky that she wants to try it, but I engage her at that level. And I think in kitchens we don't want to be too serious. We want to have fun with it, and some days you're like, I hit it right on, and other days you're like, oh, that didn't work. Does anyone have anything they want to talk about the process of seasoning, making something flavorful?
Well, I made my own chicken, almost like a homemade shake and bake stuff for chicken, where I dried up whole wheat bun, grind it into breadcrumbs, and then I just take whatever spices I've got, and I put it all in, and I'll take a sniff, I'll say, add a little more of that. So it turns out different every time. So it always turns out pretty good, just for coating the chicken and bake, like I said, almost like shake and bake, only homemade, so I hope a lot healthier.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it's really important to just, like you said, take a sniff.
Yeah.
I know in some cultures, or some places in India, the food is actually, it's at this level where they're not going to eat it until it's blessed. And so the cooks that are making it, they've developed their skills of just, hey, I know this is tasty because I'm smelling it, and my mother taught me, my father taught me, I go through this process, and it's amazing. It's amazing food that they don't try until it gets blessed, and once it's blessed, you don't change it. That's the food that you're going to eat, and part of that, like you said, Brad, is just smelling it. So you're looking, you've got all these colors, and you're tasting, and for me too, feeling. I love touching, but also smelling. So you're activating all of those senses, And it's the same in your mouth, right? Your tongue has got different areas on it, and the salty is activated in one spot. And you know, it's funny, even as I'm talking, I feel my saliva is really working overdrive because I've got that salty and sourness, and to me that says that I'm actually really being satisfied by the food that I ate. I'd like to ask all of you, what is something that you learned today? Anyone feel comfortable sharing something that they learned today in this process of making flavorful food?
Well, for me, one of my vices is potato chips, and the penny hadn't dropped until you were talking about balanced, sweet, and salty. Is after I eat potato chips, I want something sweet, and I think it's probably because my mouth is overloaded on salt, and it's out of balance. And so, and I suppose that's what you meant with the dessert thing, right? Is we often want dessert because we've overloaded on some flavors, but we didn't have enough sweet in the background or something. But it's something I've noticed it's like a double vice almost, you know?
Yeah. And it's crazy the work that they're doing in processed food now. I recently heard a story about a gentleman that was creating the new Dr. Pepper, and they talked about the bliss factor. And so the bliss factor they describe as when you have the perfect cup of coffee with your cream, the bitterness of the coffee, the sweetness, and when you get that perfect for you, you can't stop. You're like, ooh, this coffee is really good. And food engineers, they're sure that you'll find there's sugar in there.
Absolutely.
But they put in sugar so that you want more, and they're going to add more salt because they want that bliss factor with those potato chips, so that, you know, it says the perfect portion is 20 potato chips. Who eats just 20 potato chips? I mean, come on, like they're there, and you're like, what? And you know what? Through following this process of thinking about the flavors and hitting on the marks that really get you going, you're going to create food that you're just like, this is perfect. And once you start doing that at home, you're going to find that going out and having pre-made food just isn't the same, you know? So on so many different levels, learning about seasoning and making flavorful food is really, really important. So does anyone have any questions about the process of making flavorful food? No? So, you know, you get your bowl, you throw in, let's say, some grains or some pasta, you add your vegetables, and then you add your salt, your sweetness, whether it's raisins or blueberries or apples, some bitterness, which can come in the form of, let's say, either kale or turmeric or tahini. Mix it around, and who can tell me what the most important part of this is?
Taste.
Taste it. You know, tasting it, reflecting on it, and adjusting. So, any other questions at all? No? Well, you know what? You all did a really great job today. I look forward to hearing how you take these new skills into your kitchen. I know I see some of you around sometimes, so I look forward to hearing that and seeing if that's changed how you create flavorful food. And thank you very much for participating in the class. You should give yourselves a hand. You all did really well. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was very fun.